You were talking that there was a whole process. Dale was telling me about it, the whole process of even picking the dirt.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, give us a little insight into that.
So we had about 32 different sites that we sampled. And, when you sample it, you take some dirt. People were sending us dirt to analyze, and you're looking at the various chemical properties of it. And, you want just the right mix. And so that's what we did.
Did you learn too much about that? I mean, I would be if that was going on. I'd ask my guys. I'd be like, why does the dirt matter, right? I mean, certainly there's difference between sand and mud,
right?
But what dirt is dirt, like red clay. There are dirt tracks all over this country, and what is the preference? And what were they?
There's a lot of preference and a lot of opinion,
right?
So everybody in dirt, the closer you are to it, I think the more expertise you have. And the more opinions you have about it.
Oh, yeah.
Dirt is very finicky, and it's different across the country. And, it's one of the certain people have certain opinions of the type of dirt. Some people want the black dirt track. Some people want the red clay dirt track. It's a really interesting thing, and it's an art. I'm not sure how much. I mean, there's a lot of science, but there's also a lot of art in it.
Yeah.
Was the problem with the World Outlaws? Was it the wrong kind of dirt? I mean that seriously. Like, was that one of the things that made that dirt get so far out? Like
maybe. I mean, it's one of those things you learn. So one of the things that we learned from that is that we needed to have this layer of sawdust to start the track. So the first layer, it's like a multi-layer cake. We started with sawdust.
What made you decide to do that versus not doing that?
Well, these aren't things that I knew about in advance. They're things that I found out about from Steve Swift and from his team. So the big reason, there's two reasons. One is it's a better cleanup. So that sawdust layer helps to just kind of create a barrier between the track surface and the dirt. And then it also helps to retain some moisture. So if you put the sawdust down, I think we had about 5 or 6 inches of sawdust on the track, which is a lot when you scatter it over a half-mile track. And then the different layers of dirt. The first layer was dirt from that original Outlaws race that we had stockpiled on the track property.
What?
Yeah.
You had this dirt sitting around for 20 years?
Vintage dirt. It was vintage dirt.
All
dirt's been around a long time.
That's why you keep everything, Mike. Even dirt.
On the track property, y'all had the old dirt that you just kept?
Absolutely.
Did you because you didn't have anywhere to put it, or you thought there would be a day when you'd want it again?
We might need it again. And we'll take all the dirt from this race, and we'll put it on the property, and we'll seed it, cover it over with grass, and save it. Care for it.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
And care for it.
Yeah. And we'll use it again next year.
You announced that. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
There was another reason why y'all put the sawdust down. You talked about the cleanup, but it takes care of the track surface as well, the concrete.
Yeah. So if you don't have that surface, kind of a barrier, it just kind of seeps in to the surface. So and it's a lot harder to clean up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was hoping though that somehow this concrete surface would not survive.
I knew you were going there.
When will we know?
Well, we'll see in a few weeks.
I can't wait to find out whether the concrete has failed to survive this or not.
Oh my God!
All of those experts that you're getting, gleaning all this information for dirt. Do you need him to talk about the concrete at all?
Because I need Dale to tell us some more concrete engineering.
Man.
Well, I can start calling the paving companies now and get some quotes.
Okay.
That's right.
Just in case.
Just to check.
Sample them.
We got to be ready.
Absolutely.
You never know.
If we need to get pavement in there fast.
That's right.
So middle of the race, you guys announced to everyone. So, but this was kind of, I wasn't there, but I can imagine this was really kind of a cool moment.
I sat in your seat, by the way.
Did you?
Yes.
Yeah. I was supposed to go. Yeah, I was supposed to go. And the weather, we were going to go Sunday, and the weather was bad. Right. So we ended up not going.
Yeah.
And then I had something yesterday, so I couldn't go. But I hope it was a good view. I'm sure it was one of the best.
It was. It was great.
The race, they didn't have live stops, right? So they would pull the cars down after each stage and shut the motors off. So there was sort of this intermission. kind of a neat. I
Yeah.
bet it was kind of a cool atmosphere, like a halftime.
It was nice. Yeah. Time to talk and, go to the concession stand.
Right, and I believe that was a time when y'all decided to announce that y'all were going to run this dirt race again next year. Everybody was sitting there on social media as I was following the race saying, it's a one-time deal. Nobody said anything about this happening again. It was a lot of work. I don't see them going through this process again. This is, with the rain and da-da-da.
Yeah.
And then there y'all go in the middle of the race and drop that bomb.
Yeah.
Y'all hadn't heard anything from a driver after, post-race. You hadn't heard really – you hadn't had a fan vote
Right.
or any kind of – you haven't checked the temperature of the fans or their
Maybe
experience.
maybe we're on to the reason why you did it before they had a chance to do all that, right?
So I was really surprised.
Yeah.
What a time to announce something like that. What's the decision behind that?
Well, at the track, when we announced it, fans cheered.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm certain that it's positive.
Yeah.
But I just was surprised by the choice to do it then.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, it's one of those things that going into this, I didn't know if we would do it again or not.
Going into
To the race yesterday?
No, going into.
When did y'all decide, man, we're going to announce we're doing this again?
We talked about it on Saturday and Sunday when it was raining. And,
Wait a
In
second.
the worst of times.
Yeah.
Like, in the moment when you think they would be going, we're never doing this again. No
You made the
way.
decision to do it again that late? I mean, like in this past weekend, that's when y'all made the decision to do it again next year?
I was thinking, if this works, we're going to do it again. If it doesn't work, now we know.
You based it, though, you hadn't had a race. You're in the middle of a torrential downpour. You got flooding outside the racetrack. You based this, off of what you saw in practice and so forth?
I was 99% sure and had everything ready to go on Sunday. And once we got the first 20 or 30 laps in, you knew it could be raced by the Cup cars, then ready to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Isn't there a conversation with NASCAR that at least has to be had?
Yeah, we talked with them, and they were very supportive. And I can't say enough thanks to Steve O'Donnell and Steve Phelps and Jim France and just the whole team at NASCAR, how they have supported this. And again, that goes back to my team. I mean, I've got confidence in them, and it gives other people confidence in us to do some of these crazy things.
I'm still fascinated by this. Okay, so wait a second. Did anybody on their side go, wait a second, Steve or Marcus, we're in the middle of a downpour right now. Did anybody ask questions on the logic behind it? Because, listen, we're all glad that it happened,
I guess,
but
maybe some people did.
but not to you.
No.
Wow. And so y'all just said, heck with it, let's announce it during the race.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
It was, and I love the cheers. I was talking with somebody else, and it flashes up on the big TV in the middle, and you hear this crowd erupt. That's cool.
I think the best. You could. There's so many positives to making the decision to make that announcement right there in the middle of the race. You got a captive TV audience, listening to that very announcement. You got everybody that's bought a ticket at the track there, to hear it as well. You couldn't have had a better attention span to try to reach as many people as possible.
And we've already got about 5,000 tickets renewed.
Yeah.
Just in the last 24 hours.
Let me tell you what the most impressive part about this is. The announcing is great, but I'm telling you, if he's making the decision, you and your team are making the decision over the weekend when all this stuff was happening, there is an insane ability to tune out the static, which is absolutely going on. Wow, armchair quarterbacks. Our own podcast, Door Bumper Clear, may have been one of them, talking about how, this is what happens when you got non-dirt track people running dirt races and whatever. That conversation was going on. You guys have an ability to tune that out and make this decision like this during this weekend before the race is even run and completed.
Who are the non-dirt track people?
Well, that's a great point because you've got dirt tracks. You've got dirt tracks, right? For sure. Yeah. So, but this is interesting. How do you tune out the naysayers, the devil's advocates, whatever you want to call it, to be able to reach a decision like that?
I learned something huge when we put in the big TV at Charlotte, big Speedway TV. That was one of it was absolutely the biggest fan amenity in NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
To have the biggest TV in the world put in where we were, watching these little postage stamp TVs in comparison in the infield for the fans. We thought that was good when you could have a 30-foot TV. We put in a 200-foot TV, and we had people complain about it. And at that point, I realized can't make everybody happy, and that's when I just kind of turned it off and realized, I want to know what fans think, but I also need to remember that you just can't make everybody happy, and that's just part of life.
Yeah.
And you got to swing. You got to swing for it. If you're going to hit it, you got to swing, right?
Yeah, I think so.
The dirt race felt like a swing. I mean, like even when you guys announced that you were doing it, I'm pretty sure that we even go, what's going on here? Bristol putting dirt, why mess up a good thing? Because y'all got
What, are you crazy?
Yeah.
This was like my idea.
This was your idea. Oh, yeah. We had, Jason, you pulled something. Is it?
We found
Hold on. Are we taking credit for this?
We found a clip from when Marcus was on the show in 2019 talking about Bristol dirt. So I'm going to play that for y'all.
Okay,
now.
let's
All
hear
right.
it.
Dale's idea was to rip up the concrete at Bristol and run a dirt race
Yes.
in Cup, and then
The first Bristol race of the year, run the dirt race.
and then pave it asphalt.
Wait, when did he come to you with that idea? It had to have been
That happened
after
on
driving.
No, that was on the plane to Vegas.
Before we
is on
got
this
there.
flight?
Yeah, before we got there.
Now that he doesn't have to drive it, he's got all kinds of ideas. Let's do a boat race in the infield next time, right? That's true.
Yeah. I was down. I was for it.
There you
What-
go.
what
Good
the
job,
heck?
Dale.
Dale, did you tell him to do it again next year or something? Wow. Okay. Wow.
So the I think people are talking about, how much work this was. You got to put the track together, then you got to tear it apart. You guys were pretty clever in this particular instance, where in 20 years ago you had a World Outlaws race and that was it, right?
Right.
This year you've got the dirt late models, the Cup race, the truck race, then you have the winged World Outlaw cars. So
Right.
you've got like a month of racing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Multiple opportunities for revenue and ticket sales, and you can get a lot more bang for your buck out of the big effort to put that track together, right?
That's true. Yeah. And it was so cool to see what happened with the late models the 2 weeks before. I mean,
Everybody coming to run.
all over the country. And so to come and race Bristol, if you are, in those classes that were invited, it's a pretty special opportunity. So I think that's why people kind of dropped what they were doing and they came to Bristol, and we had 1,400 cars the last 2 weeks, before NASCAR.
Yeah.
So, and I think coming up with the Outlaws in a couple of weeks, we'll have a big turnout, and it'll be really fun, and all those people will be able to say, I raced Bristol.
Right.
So
That's
pretty cool.
true.
How far ahead? I know y'all have announced that you're racing at Bristol in the dirt next spring. How far ahead beyond that, or what is your gut feeling about the future of this racetrack? So I didn't see y'all announcing to run it again next year because of the work, but I certainly have a hard time imagining you're going to alternate this year after, this track from dirt to concrete every year going forward. I think at some point you have to make a business decision to make a choice on what the future of the track looks like. So where's your gut?
I think so next year the race will be on dirt, and the question is, what about the cars? So, and I don't know
The new car.
is it going to be the new car? I think it's going to be the new car. What changes will be made? It'll be interesting. That'll be, I think, the next part of this decision for NASCAR and the teams to think about. Everybody's got thoughts on windshield, no windshield, forced air versus the under the car and that kind of thing. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
All of those things steer the future of the track
I think it does.
and the future of Bristol running dirt.
I think it does. Yeah, it's a part of it, and we'll kind of see how it goes.
Do you watch the trucks at Knoxville coming up with curiosity from a business standpoint?
I've watched the race. I've been there several times. Was a big fan of that, and I really enjoyed it.
You talked about owning 3 dirt tracks. I mean, do you think it's out of the realm of possibility to imagine taking a date to a true purpose-built dirt track one day? On the
We're
Cup
open to
side?
that. we're open to that if it's something that that NASCAR wants to do and it works out, we'd be open to it. I think Tony and Roger have done a great job with it in Eldora and kind of paved the way to put the trucks on dirt and Cup on dirt, and so we'll see.
With the new track agreements and so forth, you have mentioned a couple times in this conversation how important NASCAR is in the discussion and agreement. What is the conversation with NASCAR like when you as a track owner want to do anything different outside of what the schedule is? I mean, I'm certain you have to go in and line up these dates and schedules, but I mean, you got a date at Bristol. Do you have to go to NASCAR and say, hey, we want to run dirt? Certainly you have to talk about that because of the RTA, and they have to be in agreement to want to run dirt.
Right.
Everybody has to be at the table, right?
Yeah, right.
But how much influence? I mean, how much of the decision is yours? How much of the decision is NASCAR's, and then how much influence does the RTA have on that type of choice?
Well, we're in it together. I think that's the thing that has been really great about the last year. As we've gone through the COVID year, the sport is in a better place than ever, I think, with just working together, being open to new ideas or different things and changes, and it's just been fantastic. So I don't feel like when I call NASCAR or meet with them, it's not a us versus them thing. It's a we thing, and that's what's making NASCAR as a sport a really, really powerful group, and that's what's making our sport just climb higher and higher.
You want to hear the rest of that conversation with Marcus Smith? Well, you got to listen to the whole podcast. The Dale Jr. Download is available on all major podcast platforms.